It's kind of a frustrating paradox for a lot of English learners.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, because many learners know those basic, perfectly grammatical phrases like, I wake up at 7 or I brush my teeth and I eat breakfast.
Right. The classics from chapter 1 of every textbook.
Exactly. But then they step out into the real world, and when they hear native English speakers talk about their mornings, the language sounds, well, completely different.
It really does. It's suddenly full of natural expressions and phrasal verbs and just everyday vocabulary that you rarely find in textbooks.
Yeah, and as a result, learners can understand basic English perfectly, but they still struggle to sound natural in real conversations. So today's deep dive is going to fix that. We are going to explore how native English speakers naturally talk about their morning routines. Hey listeners, welcome to English Made Simple, where you learn real English for real-life conversations in a simple and natural way.
It's such a great mission for today because mastering this specific daily vocabulary is honestly one of the fastest ways to bridge that gap. To stop sounding like a student and start sounding like a local.
Let's start right at the root of the problem, though. Why does textbook English often sound so unnatural in the first place? I mean, to me, it's a lot like reading a user manual for a car.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Right,
Yeah.
the manual tells you exactly how the engine works, all the facts are technically correct. But reading a manual is a completely different experience from actually taking a road trip with your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Textbooks are designed to teach grammatical correctness above everything else. So, they want to ensure, the subject, the verb, the object.
You're basically playing defense, trying not to make a mistake.
Exactly. But native speakers, they don't prioritize that perfect, rigid structure when they're just having a casual chat. They prioritize flow. They prioritize the shared experience. So they use highly descriptive verbs to convey a feeling, not just cold data.
I get the theory there, but let me push back just a little bit.
Sure, go ahead.
If the textbook isn't technically wrong, why change how we speak? Like, if I say I wake up and I eat, I am successfully giving you the data. Why isn't that enough?
Well, because human communication is about connection, right?
Yeah.
Not just data transfer. When you use that relaxed, natural phrasing, you put the listener at ease. You sound relatable.
You don't sound like a robot giving a morning status report.
Exactly. We want to express how the morning actually felt. And that starts the very second the day begins. Because in a textbook, you simply wake up. But native speakers say things like, my alarm goes off, or I turn it off, or maybe I hit the snooze button.
Wait, I have to point out a really funny contradiction there. When the alarm starts making that incredibly loud, obnoxious ringing noise, we say it goes off.
Yeah?
Shouldn't it be goes on? I mean, the sound is starting.
I know it seems completely illogical on the surface. The machine is turning on. But historically in English, the phrasal verb going off has been used to describe an explosion.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, like a bomb going off or a firework going off. So your alarm doesn't just turn on. It goes off like a tiny little explosion right next to your head, violently pulling you out of sleep.
A tiny explosion that ruins your sleep. That changes the whole perspective. So the natural sequence is your alarm goes off. Maybe you hit the snooze button to delay the inevitable.
As we all do.
Right. And then eventually you turn it off, you rub your eyes, and then, let's be honest, you grab your device, you check your phone.
Yeah, and notice we don't usually say, I read my phone or I look at my phone. The natural phrase is, I scroll on my phone.
Oh, scroll.
Because it perfectly describes that physical, endless, downward motion of your thumb. It's a very common bad habit, but it's the precise vocabulary for it.
That struggle against the screen is so real, but it's really a struggle against waking up, which is exactly why the next set of vocabulary is all about the physical act of leaving the mattress.
Right, because textbooks just say getting out of bed.
Yeah, with zero emotion. But natives usually qualify how they do it, so they might jump out of bed, or they might drag myself out of bed. I always joke that depending on the day, gravity feels like it works differently in my bedroom.
It definitely feels heavier on a Monday. And this perfectly illustrates what we meant about conveying a feeling. If you say, I woke up feeling refreshed, so I jumped out of bed, it implies this high energy.
You're excited, you're ready to tackle the day.
Exactly. On the flip side, I dragged myself out of bed implies extreme difficulty. Like it's slow and you are literally fighting that gravity you mentioned.
Which links beautifully to how we talk about feeling tired. When you're exhausted, you obviously don't jump, you delay. But natives rarely say, I am currently feeling fatigued.
No, never. We say things like, I'm not a morning person, or we use that great phrase, scrolling for far too long.
Yes, scrolling for far too long, it captures that morning procrastination so perfectly.
It really does.
Yeah.
Natives use tangible actions to express exhaustion. Or if the delay was intentional, they might say, I slept in.
Ah, I slept in, which means choosing to sleep past your normal waking hour. Right.
Exactly. It's a deliberate choice.
I slept in feels like a luxury, whereas I dragged myself out of bed feels like a punishment. Okay, so we're finally on our feet. Let's talk about habits. We say things like making the bed. And I always notice we default to the present simple tense here. We say, I wake up, I brush my teeth. Why not the present continuous?
Well, that's a fundamental rule of natural English. When we talk
Okay.
about a morning routine, we aren't talking about what we are doing right now in this exact second.
Right.
We're talking about things done routinely,
Right.
regularly, commonly. The present simple tense is uniquely designed for habits. It essentially tells the listener, this is who I am every day.
Makes sense. And within that routine, I absolutely love the phrase making the bed because it's this massive catch-all phrase. Natives love macro actions.
Oh, definitely.
It doesn't matter if you are just quickly pulling up the duvet or if you're carefully arranging 12 pillows or, if you're like me and placing a decorative little stuffed giraffe right in the center. It's all just making the bed.
Yeah, you don't have to explain the micro actions. It's an umbrella term that just saves time and keeps the story moving.
Speaking of keeping things moving, let's look at the most critical part of the morning for a lot of us, artificially creating energy.
Ah, coffee and tea.
Exactly. So natives use phrases like, put the kettle on, the kettle is boiling, pour the milk, have breakfast, have a coffee. But wait, let me highlight a mistake I hear a lot.
Okay, what is it?
In a lot of other languages, people use the verb take for this. So learners will say, I take my coffee, or I take my breakfast. Can I say that in English?
No, you really shouldn't. That is a massive trap for learners.
Why does it sound so weird to us?
Because using take for meals sounds incredibly unnatural. In English, take implies removing something, stealing it, or consuming it medicinally, like you take a pill.
Oh.
We always use have or eat for food and have or drink for liquids. So you say, I have my coffee, or I grab a coffee if you're in a rush.
Grab a coffee is great. It sounds so active and fast. And there's another quirky shortcut here. We say the kettle is boiling. We don't say the water is boiling, even though the metal kettle itself is obviously not turning into a gas.
Yeah, native speakers are kind of lazy in the best way possible. We substitute the container for the thing inside it because it's just faster to say the kettle is boiling, just rolls off the tongue.
And what about where we drink that coffee?
Right. Rather than sitting stiffly at the dining table to have breakfast, a lot of natives will specifically mention sitting on the comfier sofa to have breakfast.
Oh, I am definitely a comfier sofa person.
It just paints a picture of a relaxed moment before the stress of the day begins.
Okay, so we've had our coffee. Now we need to actually get moving, which brings us to a huge part of spoken English. Phrasal verbs. Verbs like set off.
Yes. Set off is incredibly common, especially in the UK. It means to start your journey or leave the house, like I set off at 7:30.
Learners often complain about phrasal verbs, but I don't see them as a burden at all. I actually think of phrasal verbs like the joints in a skeleton.
Okay, I like that analogy. How so?
Well, without joints, the big, formal vocabulary words just clumsily bump into each other. But phrasal verbs like set off or head out, they give the language the ability to bend and flex smoothly. You don't rigidly say, I commence my journey. You just smoothly say, I set off.
That's spot on. They provide the flexibility.
By the way, if you're enjoying this, subscribe to our channel for more English listening practice.
And you see those phrasal joints right through the rest of the routine, too. Think about getting ready for work or school. We don't say, I clothe myself.
Right, that sounds Shakespearean.
Exactly. We say, I get dressed, or I put on some jeans, I do my hair, or I put my face on.
Let's focus on do my hair for a second. Why do? Such a vague word.
It's vague by design. Do my hair is universal. It covers brushing, straightening, curling, putting gel in it. Just like making the bed, it does the heavy lifting so you don't slow down the conversation.
That makes a lot of sense. And I have to bring up the very British expression you just mentioned, putting your face on.
Oh, yes.
It means applying makeup, but it's such a vivid, hilarious image to me. If you take it literally, it sounds terrifying. Like your face is just sitting on a shelf overnight and you have to go attach it to your head in the morning.
It does sound a bit startling when you analyze it literally, but that kind of mild, self-deprecating humor is deeply embedded in British English. It's a casual, cheeky way to describe the transformation from, just waking up to being ready for the public.
So true. Now, what about those overachievers who include exercise in their morning routine?
Ah, the energetic ones.
Yeah, we have a specific set of vocabulary for that. Native talk about doing exercise, working out, going for a run, going for a jog, going for a swim, or hitting the gym. Oh, and of course, having a shower or taking a shower. But let me push back here on one thing learners say a lot. Why can't I say I am doing sport in the morning? Like if I'm downstairs lifting heavy weights and sweating, isn't that sport?
It definitely feels like it,
Mm-hmm.
but English relies on fairly strict definitions here. Sport strongly implies competition against other people.
Oh, okay. Like a game.
Exactly. Soccer, basketball, tennis, those are sports because you're trying to win against an opponent. If you are lifting weights for your own health or doing yoga, you aren't competing. Therefore, you are doing exercise or working out.
Ah, the presence of an opponent. That clarifies it. And I noticed you gave a couple of options for moving outside. Go for a run versus go for a jog. There's a difference in intensity there.
Precisely. Going for a run implies something a bit more aggressive, faster. Maybe you're tracking your distance. Going for a jog is much more casual, slow-paced, and relaxed.
What about the gym?
There's an interesting cultural split there. Americans absolutely love the phrase, hit the gym. It sounds proactive, but British speakers use it a bit less frequently. They usually just say they are going to the gym.
Hit the gym. Definitely sounds like you're about to attack the weights. Okay, so we're exercised, showered, and dressed. Now we get into those casual phrases natives use as they maneuver around their homes. Things like head downstairs, head upstairs, draw the blinds, open the blinds, put together a packed lunch, or throw together a packed lunch.
Yeah, let's look at the verb head first, because using head as a directional verb is a total staple of native speech.
It acts almost like an internal compass. You don't just walk downstairs, you head downstairs.
Yep.
It implies a destination and a purpose.
Exactly. You're on a mission. And speaking of missions, let's talk about food prep. Let's unpack the difference between put together a packed lunch and throw together a packed lunch.
Oh, that's a great subtle difference.
Right. Putting together implies organization and care. You made a nice sandwich, sliced some fruit, packed it neatly.
But throwing together is pure morning anxiety. It perfectly mirrors the psychological state of panic.
Oh, absolutely.
It's disorganized. It's grabbing a random apple, shoving some crisps into a bag, and zipping it up as you rush out of the house. You literally threw it together because you were out of time.
Right. The physical action of throwing conveys the emotion and the stress of the morning, not just the mechanical action of packing food.
Which brings us to leaving the house and a major vocabulary trap for English learners. The word commute. I hear this misused all the time.
It is a massive trap. The word commute is the specific habitual journey from your home to your workplace and back again. So you say, I commute by train, or my daily commute is 30 minutes.
So if it's Saturday, can I say I'm commuting to the park for a picnic?
No, absolutely not. And that is the exact mistake learners make. Commute is strictly tied to your work or school routine. If you're going to the park, you're just traveling or driving or walking to the park. Commute is reserved exclusively for that daily professional journey.
Good to know. Oh, and a quick side note for everyone brushing their teeth before they start that commute. Make sure you say you are using an electric toothbrush, not an electrical toothbrush.
Yes, very important distinction.
It's a tiny detail, but saying electrical toothbrush is a dead giveaway that you're translating directly from another language.
A really helpful tip. And honestly, noticing those tiny details brings up a broader concept about sounding natural. You do not need giant, academic, complex words to sound fluent.
Exactly. I think people feel intense pressure to use big, formal words to prove they speak well.
Yeah, but relying on big words often makes you sound less natural.
Natural English actually relies on lightness and agility. It uses very simple verbs combined effectively with nouns.
Right, instead of using a clunky sentence like, I'm going running, natives use a lighter noun-based phrase, I'll go for a run. Instead of saying, I am preparing a lunchbox for my employment, they say, I'm packing my things, or I'm getting ready for work. It keeps the conversation effortless.
So how do you, the listener, actually start using this agility? The best way is to build your own natural morning routine vocabulary. Customize it to your actual life.
Exactly. Ask yourself what your reality looks like. If you work from home, for example, your vocabulary is going to be entirely different.
Right. You don't set off in the morning. You don't have a commute or rush out of the house.
No, you simply head downstairs and turn on your laptop.
So, do you jump out of bed with tons of energy or do you drag yourself out? Listeners, I want you to mentally pick just 3 or 4 phrases we've discussed today that actually apply to your real life. Don't try to memorize the whole list.
Yeah, that's overwhelming.
Just pick the ones that accurately describe your reality, whether you hit the snooze button or wake up feeling refreshed.
Let's show them how this sounds when we put it all together. The goal is continuous, natural speech where these phrases link effortlessly without sounding like a textbook checklist.
Okay, let's do a quick role play, like a 30-second seamless story. Let me paint the picture of a classic, slightly rushed morning. Listen to how the verbs flow. Ready?
Go for it.
My alarm goes off, I hit the snooze button twice, and eventually drag myself out of bed. I head downstairs, put the kettle on, throw together a packed lunch, and rush out of the house to start my commute.
Notice how perfectly that flows. Goes off, hit the snooze button, drag myself, head downstairs, put the kettle on, throw together, rush out.
It feels authentic.
It does. It conveys a slight sense of panic, and it uses incredibly common vocabulary without a single overly complex word. That is the absolute gold standard for natural fluency.
It really is. Okay, let's do a quick recap before we wrap up. The fundamental difference between textbook English and natural English is the difference between data and story.
Beautifully said.
The textbook mathematically reports, I wake up, I eat, I go to work. But natural English gives us the flavor and the feeling. My alarm goes off, I grab a coffee, and I head out the door.
Right, by prioritizing phrasal verbs like set off, collocations like make the bed, and descriptive verbs like drag or jump, you stop just translating words in your head. You start truly communicating your human experience.
So keeping all of that in mind, I want to leave you with a few direct questions to answer for yourself. Where are you listening from? What time do you usually wake up? Are you a morning person or a night owl? Which new expression are you going to use today? And did you find this episode helpful?
It's all about taking that next step from passive listening to active, confident use in your own life.
Exactly, because the next time you hear a native speaker talking about their day, don't just listen to the raw data of the words they're using. Listen to the emotion behind the verb. Are they jumping or are they dragging? That is where the real language lives. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you on the next one.